Taylor Pegg, the new head coach of the Niles Volleyball team. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
When you talk about this Niles volleyball program and how exciting the times are right now and the rejuvenation of the program, what kind of things excite you about this year?
I think that I'm most excited about how successful our defense and serve receive is. I am a 2019 graduate of Hubbard High School, so I have played Niles in high school. I've watched them from before I was even in high school and a little bit before I coached, and they've never really had the defense that we have this year. There are a few of the girls that have never played a varsity match until this year, and it was nerve-wracking for them. But I think that me seeing the potential that they have and giving them the coaching that they need is really helping them. And we have so many digs this year, so many saves, and I'm just so proud of the way that they've improved just from the beginning of open gyms in when we start June. Just in June, the improvement is ridiculous. I love it. I'm so proud of them.
Coach, I don't think I could go without asking this question too. Being a graduate of Hubbard High School, what was it like this past Tuesday going back, but not as a Hubbard Eagle, but playing against him as a coach of the Niles Red Dragons?
It was definitely the biggest game for me personally. Coaching in my gym where I played, Hubbard's JV coach, he was actually my very first coach up until my junior year. I look up to him every single day. I know that I can go to him and talk to him, but he is the enemy now. So all of these girls, they fought their hardest. We were down 0-2. They fought back and they won that third set 30-28. And although we did lose in the end, I'm so proud of them. They didn't take any sets from Hubbard last year, and definitely excited to see round 2 when they come to us.
You definitely bounced back last night with a thrilling win over Struthers. You look at those scores, they were all very competitive sets. Talk about what a win like that does for the morale of your program.
Winning the home opener, I think, was just the biggest thing. We had a huge crowd there. Everybody was supporting us. I don't know if they've ever won their home opener before in the past 3, possibly 4 years. It was definitely an exciting thing for them, and especially to win not in 5. We won against champion and it went to 5. We were excited that we won, but winning in 4 is just so much better. We didn't have to work that extra set. We didn't have to do this. We didn't have to do that. Like, the girls, they were there, they were present. I do think that our biggest thing is starting off strong. We struggle with that. We dig ourselves a hole, but they always fight back somehow.
Talk to me a little bit about these next 2 games. And of course, you being a Hubbard graduate, you know the tough NE8 schedule. So you've seen a lot of these 2 teams. So knowing Jefferson and Lakeview are the next 2 on the docket, talk about how important these next 2 are and what you need from the girls to come away victors in these next 2.
Yeah, these next 2 games are definitely pretty big. Playing against Jefferson and in Lakeview a few years ago, they were always tough. They've always had good programs. But I definitely think that they're ready. Working with my girls with their defense, their serve receive, I've drilled them with their passing and their serve receive, and that is why it's improved so much. I definitely think that we're ready for that. And having girls like Logan, she's 5'10". I have a junior, Abby Reed. She's 5'11". Junior, Elena Thigpen, she is 5'9". So I have a huge front row. We have so many blocks. Actually, I think Abby Reed had 11 blocks last night, and it's just amazing to have such a tall, solid front row along with a solid back row. And I definitely think that they're ready for this competition this upcoming week.
We've heard from Logan. Who are some other leaders on this team that you look to lead the team, not just on the court, but off the court as well?
My senior setter, Jen Amelius, she is definitely one to take leadership on the court. She notices when people are down or when people get in their head, and she tries to keep the energy up all the time, as well as Elena Thigpen. She is always exciting. She picks people up on the court. She not just mentally, but like she physically picks them up.
Yes.
She picks them up. She gets so excited. It's definitely a big part of our energy is Elena, as well as Abby Reed and Hallie Snyder. Really, all of my varsity team are 9 solid girls that are potential captains, and that it was very hard to choose. And that's why there are 4 of them. But I think that Elena is definitely probably the one that keeps the energy up most of the time. She's the loudest. She's always excited, even in practices. So I definitely rely on her for a lot of that.
Yeah, looking at this upcoming season too. You're coming into a new school. You're coming into the Niles Red Dragons, a graduate of just a couple years ago. But what has been your favorite thing transitioning into this new coaching experience, and what has been your favorite thing about coaching this Red Dragons team so far?
I think my favorite thing from moving from player to coach is just seeing the court from a whole different perspective. It's definitely eye-opening, and I do have some of my girls help with the middle school sometimes so that they get that opportunity to see the other side of the court as well. So that's definitely a big thing. And sorry, I don't remember the second question.
Now, just looking at going into your first year of coaching, what are some outlooks that you have for this team, and what are some of your kind of goals, and what are you excited about future-wise for the Red Dragons?
I think my biggest goal is definitely to have a winning record. They were only 5-18 last year, so that is not the best. Definitely want to move up in the rankings not only in our conference, but like our division too. I definitely want to turn some heads, and I want Niles Volleyball to be known. I feel like people get excited to play Niles because, like, oh, they're not that good. It's an easy win. But this year, I do think that we are very good competition for anybody that we're going to play.
You transitioned from player to coach so fast, graduated in 2019, already a head coach. What was it like turning that switch mentally from player to coach, and did you ever struggle with that?
Yeah, I did struggle with it. This past season, during club season, I coached at Mahoning Valley Premier, and the biggest thing was definitely separating coach and friend. Being so young, that is the hardest thing. But I do think that it's working. And I tell the girls that I will be their friend, but I'm always their coach first, and there has to be the boundaries. And coaching at MVP, having all of these other coaches from other schools and other divisions, some of them are even from other states, and I get to ask them questions. Like, I have their contact information. So if I ever needed anything, I know that I could go to most of the coaches to ask for any advice that I needed.
Coaching too, you get into coaching, there's so much you have to learn too, and everything gets kind of thrown at you when you jump into coaching. Is there anything that now that you are a coach that you look back on as a player saying, man, I wish I would have known that, or something that you learned along the way as a coach that you maybe wish you learned or knew as a player?
100% attitude. When I played, I had the worst attitude. I tell my girls that. I had the worst attitude. I got in my head so bad. And it did bring other girls down. And as a coach, seeing that, like, I wish that I could go back in time and like switch it. I actually went up to Greg Powell, Hubbard's JV coach, and I was like, I'm sorry for all of the attitude that I ever gave you. Because keeping them out of their heads and keeping them positive the whole time is definitely the hardest thing.
Talk about one thing that you want your players to take away from your coaching style and your season that's outside of volleyball and just a life skill.
I want them to stick up for themselves. Definitely that is a big thing. Like, team drama is a big thing. And it's kind of weird because they're all friends on the court and off of the court. So I think that the biggest thing I want them to take away from it is to be yourself. don't try to twist words. Don't talk down on anybody. Like, do your job. Be who you want to be. And if somebody doesn't like that or somebody doesn't agree with it, you can agree to disagree. I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to teach them is to be an adult, to take criticism well, to not take stuff to heart too bad, if that makes sense.
My final question for you, Coach, teams are nothing without the fan support and having a good community behind them. And I think Niles is one of those areas that does have a really good community behind them. But talk to me and talk to actually the Niles community about why this next Thursday matchup, this big home matchup versus Lakeview, is going to be the place to be on Thursday night.
Yeah. First, I want to say thank you to everybody who first welcomed me to the community. Being a graduate of Hubbard High School, I didn't know how they were going to take it that I was the head coach. So I want to thank them for welcoming me and being like they have my back for everything. The superintendent, Mrs. Thigpen, and then our athletic director, Mr. Fritz, they have my back and they support me 100%. And not only does the community see that, but my players see that. They see that the administration is involved with our program, and definitely that is a big thing for communities. Like, I know going to Hubbard, I would notice what the athletic director would do or what the superintendent would do, and seeing them at the games and supporting us, definitely it's like, oh, like they're there. I think that I can go. I should go. Maybe this is a good game, So yeah, definitely our home game against Lakeview is definitely a big one for us on Thursday. They have started off a little rough. They are 0-2 right now. We do have the confidence of being 2-1, but we're not underestimating anybody at all. We know how hard they play. We know how tough they are. They've always been good competition, and preparing my girls mentally is my biggest thing right now.
Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to talk about your coaching staff from the middle school up and what the coaches that are around you do for this program.
Yeah, my middle school coach is Ashton Cameron. She's not from around here. She's actually from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And she does make that drive every day. And as a college student, all of my coaches are college-age students. We are 19, 20, and 21. So it's very young coaching staff, but we're taking it serious, and we are definitely going about it the right way. The middle school, they did have a rough start last year, not being able to find a coach. They had our varsity basketball coach as their volleyball coach. So it was a rough start. They didn't get the coaching that they needed. And I think this year, bringing in Ashton, who has the volleyball background, who knows how to play, and her dad was also a coach, so she knows the coaching situations like in the family. That's definitely a big thing for us, is like starting younger. We want to start camps for 5th and 6th grade, so that it's not just thrown into it in 7th grade. And my JV coach, Alicia Jackson, she is wonderful. We're on the same page about everything. We agree on everything. There's not much that we disagree on. She is doing a wonderful job with my JV. It is a rough start because of the coaching situation last year, but we're definitely ready for the struggles that we're going to go through, the obstacles we're going to have to come across, but we're definitely taking it the right way, and I think that this program is going to grow in the next few years.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today, and Logan as well, as we had this cool little tandem interview. We thank you both for the time, and we look forward to covering your team as the season goes on, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you so much.